Yes, now we'll discuss about the spinal cord part 3. Part 3. In this part we'll discuss about the internal structure of the spinal cord. First of all, we make diagram. Here is pons, this is medulla oblongata, this is level of upper border of posterior arch of the C1. From here spinal cord start. This is spinal cord. This is cervical dilatation or cervical enlargement, cervical enlargement. Here is cervical enlargement. And this is lumbosacral enlargement. This cervical enlargement extends from C5 to T1 spinal segment, and this lumbosacral extend from L2 to S3 spinal segment. If you cut a transverse section at the cervical region, you will find this is cervical region. This is gray matter. Here is position of the central canal. So this is gray matter, and outside in the periphery this is white matter. Here is white matter and this is gray matter. Here you can see this gray matter is H-shaped. Here is this part of H, horizontal part, which connect two vertical part. This is commissure. This is gray commissure. And these two are horns. This is ventral horn. This is dorsal horn. This is dorsal horn. This is ventral horn. And its shape, it is large and oval in shape. If you cut another section at the thoracic level, this was the transverse section at this level, at the cervical enlargement level. Here, if you cut section at the thoracic level, you will find it is more circular in comparison to this. So it is small and circular. This is gray matter. Here is central canal. Here you can see this gray matter has ventral horn, dorsal horn, and here is one lateral horn. This is lateral horn. So in this region, thoracolumbar region, that means from T1 to L2 segment, this lateral horn is present. So this lateral horn is present in the T1 to L2 region. If you look at a section at this lumbosacral region, the upper part of the lumbosacral region, you will find here again, this is ventral horn, this is dorsal horn, no lateral horn is present in this region. And if you compare the gray matter of these regions, you can see here this is dorsal horn, this is ventral horn. In ventral horn, here motor nerve nuclei is present here. And sensory fiber comes to here, motor fibers arise from here and goes through ventral root. So here the motor fibers are present. In cervical enlargement, this size is large. In lumbosacral enlargement, this size is large. Or ventral horn is large or massive, because here from here cervical plexus arise, and this cervical plexus gives supply to the muscles of the upper limb. So due to supply large number of the muscle, this area become large, because here more nerve nuclei present for giving supply to the large number of the muscle. Same thing here. So here this is ventral horn is large because it gives supply to the muscles of the lower limb. And here, in this region, there are lateral horn. The lateral horn present in thorax T1 to L2 region. This is for the sympathetic outflow. In this region, sympathetic nerve nuclei is present here. And it passes through ventral root. Along with the motor nerve. So in T1 to L2 region, this lateral horn is present. So this is basic difference in the gray matter of the spinal cord at different level. Now white matter. Here you can see this is white matter. This area is white matter. White matter is white. Why? The reason behind this, because the nerve fibers here are myelinated nerve fibers. Nerve fibers are myelinated. These myelinated nerve fibers, due to these myelinated nerve fibers, this is known as white matter or white column. This is known as white column. White column. Here in the central nervous system, the nerves are myelinated by oligodendrocyte. These are the oligodendrocyte. dendrocytes. So nerves are milted by oligodendrocytes, covered by oligodendrocytes. That's why it looks white, and this is white color. And as you know, in peripheral nervous system, the nerves are milted by Schwann cells. In peripheral nervous system, it is covered by Schwann cells. So this is basic difference in white matter of the central nervous system and peripheral. In peripheral nervous system, it is covered by Schwann cells. Nerve is enriched by Schwann cells, are milted by Schwann cells, and in central nervous system, the nerves are milted by oligodendrocytes. That's why it is white column. And this white column is divided into three parts. Here is anterior median sulcus, median fissure, anterior lateral sulcus, posterior lateral sulcus, posterior median fissure. So from here to here, this is anterior column, this is lateral column, and this is posterior column, posterior white column. So white column is peripheral part and is divided into three parts: anterior, lateral and posterior. And basically in anterior column, descending fibers are present mostly. In the posterior column, ascending fibers are present. In lateral, both ascending and descending fibers are present. If you compare from cervical to sacral region and coccygeal region of the white column comparatively large in number. White nerve fibers are large in number in cervical region, and gradually from above downward number decreases. So if you compare, this is white matter. If you compare white matter and grey matter, here white matter is less in comparison to grey matter. In comparison to here, white matter is less in comparison to grey matter. But if you compare this white matter to this white matter, so here white matter is in large. Why? Because ascending fibers, if you see ascending fibers, from ascending fibers, suppose this is here ascending fibers are present here in posterior column. Ascending fibers goes to upward, and gradually upper region some fibers are attached from here. As you go goes upward, more and more fibers are attached. So in this region, cervical region, if you compare, the number of ascending fibers are large in comparison to this. And same thing, number of descending fibers, if you compare here, number of descending fibers like this. So in this region, descending fibers, here you can see, are in less number, here slightly more, and here is more. So in lower part of the spinal cord, white matter is less in comparison to grey matter. And if you go from below upward, the number of white matter is increased. The area of the white matter is increased. Here you can see. These numbers are increased. So this is the transverse section at different level. Now we will discuss about the nuclei. Here if you see, here you have seen the white matter divided into anterior, lateral and posterior columns, and each column has numerous ascending or descending tract. Mostly anterior part have descending tracts, posteriorly here ascending tracts, and here ascending and descending, both tracks are present. This is roughly, you can see here. Detail we'll discuss later, ascending, descending, other fibers. Now, if you see gray matter, this is gray matter. This is gray matter. If you see the gray matter, this is gray matter. Of the one side, here is position of the central canal. This gray matter is divided into several nuclei, or gray matter has several nuclei, and for experiment purpose this gray matter is divided into 10 lamina. These are 10 lamina. These are known as Rexid lamina. Rexid lamina. Here you can see there are 10 lamina. This is first, then there is second, there is third, there is fourth, this is fifth, this is sixth lamina. This is sixth. And this is seventh lamina. And here is eighth lamina. This is eighth lamina. There is ninth lamina. This is ninth lamina, and here is 10th lamina. This is 10th lamina. This is 10th lamina. This is 10th lamina. Around the central canal. If you compare this laminar pattern, lamina Rexid with nuclei, from here you can see. Here is one nucleus. Here, this is posterior-marginal nucleus. This is posterior-marginal nucleus, and it is same as Rexid lamina 1 first. And there is substantia gelatinosa. This is substantia gelatinosa. This is substantia gelatinosa. This posterior marginal, it is relay station of the fast pin, like pin prick. And here substantia gelatinosa, it is station of the modification of the pain and temperature. And it is like the lamina 2. This is lamina 2. This nucleus is corresponding with lamina 2. And there is, this is nucleus propriosus. This is nucleus propriosus. Nucleus propriosus. This is related to lamina 3rd and 4th. This is corresponding with lamina 3rd and 4th. This nucleus propriosus. And here, second order neuron for the pain and temperature goes to spinothalamic tract. So this is nucleus propriosus, corresponding 3rd and 4th lamina. Here 5th and 6th lamina. Here 5th and 6th lamina. Here on this side there is . base of posterior column. This is base of posterior column is present. Here base of posterior column, and in this base of the posterior column lies here, and this base has visceral afferent nucleus. This is visceral afferent nuclei. This is visceral afferent nuclei. Visceral afferent nuclei, which is responsible for receiving afferent information, sensory information from the viscera, and it lies from T1 to L2 and S2 to S4 segment. Then after this, here is nucleus dorsalis. This is nucleus dorsalis. This nucleus dorsalis present at the level of C8 to L2 level. C8 to L2 level. This nucleus dorsalis or Clark's column. Clark column. This is also a Clark's column. So this extends from C8 to L2 spinal segment, and it is responsible for the sending fiber to posterior spinocerebellar tract. That is proprioceptive information goes to this. This is nucleus dorsalis or Clark's column. Clark's column. This nucleus dorsalis. And here, this is region of 7th lamina region, present Clark nucleus, and dorsal nucleus and nucleus dorsalis. And also here, two nucleus are present. This is intermedio medial. This is intermedio lateral. This is intermedio medial, intermedio medial, and this is intermedio lateral. So this is intermedio lateral, intermedio medial. This intermedio lateral extends from T1 to L2 segment and form sympathetic outflow. This is sympathetic outflow from T1 to L2 spinal segment, and this is for the parasympathetic outflow. This is intermedio medial and from S2 to S4, and efferent from these two goes through the ventral horn, and join to the nerve. So this is intermedio medial and intermedio lateral nuclei. This is ventral horn, this is intermediate, this is lateral horn, and here now ventral horn. Ventral horn has medial, central and lateral nuclei. This medial, central and lateral nuclei. This is medial, this is central and lateral nuclei. The lateral nuclei, and as you know, this is ventral horn. From here motor fibers goes, so it is motor nuclei for the muscles of the limb, upper limb and lower limb. Muscles of the limb. This lateral nucleus enlarged in here. This is lateral nucleus. This is enlarged in the cervical enlargement area, and it is enlarged here in lumbosacral area, because from here it gives supply to the muscles of the upper limb. Here it gives supply to the muscle of lower limb. So this is enlarged here. and medium. This medium is supplied to, and it has motor nuclei to the muscles of neck and trunk. So muscles of neck and trunk is supplied by this neck and trunk. This is medial nucleus. Here, this is central nucleus. Central nucleus in spinal segment C1 to C5. C1 to C5, from C1 to C5. Here, from C1 to C5 nuclei for the spinal accessory nerve root. For the spinal accessory nerve, the nuclei is present here from C1 to C5. C1 to C5 segment gives supply to the spinal accessory nerve. As you know, in 11th, this is 11th cranial nerve. It has cranial part and spinal part. So spinal part rises from C1 to C5 spinal segment. Another thing, phrenic nerve. C3, this is C3 to C5. C3, C4, C5. C3 to C5 gives supply to musculature of the diaphragm. This is phrenic nerve. So from C3 to C5, phrenic nerve arises from this central nucleus. And lumbosacral nucleus is also present, but here extend from the L2 to S3. Lumbosacral nucleus, L2 to S3, but its function is not clear. So here you can see, if you make, there are three nuclei. In central region, C1 to C5, spinal accessory, C3 to C5, phrenic nerve, L2 to S3, lumbosacral nuclei, its function is unknown. And again, medial is also divided into ventral and dorsal region. If you compare to this, so this region is related to the 8th and 9th lamina. 8th and 9th lamina. Here is 10th lamina. This is 10th lamina. This is known as, here interneurons are present, and as you know, there are the gray ramus communicants. So interneurons are present here, and one another thing, this is known as substantia gelatinosa centralis. This is known as substantia gelatinosa centralis. So these are two patterns. Here you have seen from anterior to posterior, posterior to anterior side, nuclei. In grey matter, nuclei are arranged like this, and you have seen their functions. And if it divided in the lamina form, then this is known as rexate lamina, and from 1st to 10th lamina you have seen like this. And which nuclei, if you correlate with these, which nuclei is related to which lamina. So this is all about the spinal cord part 3. Thank you.